What's happening all? How's everybody doing? So, I've got a whole bunch of new gear plugged in at the moment, and I'm going to not lie to you. I have no clue if you guys can hear me or not. So, please, can someone just tell me, yes, you can hear me, or no, you cannot hear a thing. Hopefully, you can hear something that's going on here. Basically, what's happened is my desk that I normally run in here is just a standard analog desk, and so I wanted to change it for a digital one. Digital desks are awesome, but they don't necessarily work so well with things like Skype and OBS and Zoom and stuff like that. So yes, awesome. So somebody can hear me. Okay, you do not realize how stressed I've been all day trying to get this to work. One other quick question then before we start this lesson. I'm not sure if the metronome is going to come through or not, so the drums probably will do. We'll just check that in one moment, but if you guys can just give me a thumbs up, or actually if you could just tell me, because I can't see the thumbs up here.
1 and 2 and 3
can you hear our friendly fella talking there?
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
So now I know you can hear me, I can relax a little bit. So welcome in to Tuesday evening's session. So tonight is aimed towards beginners. It's not just for beginners. I'm just going to talk at a level that beginners will hopefully be able to get. We're going to look a little bit tonight at the Perdie Shuffle. And, oh, Andrew Miller got me on YouTube and not on Facebook. Okay, right. Hopefully that means that Facebook is running though, because Mark said yes from there. So, and you can hear the metronome. Awesome. Right, sorry. Okay, where was I? So, yeah, welcome into the lesson. So tonight we're going to look a little bit at the Perdie Shuffle. The Perdie Shuffle is one that if you type into YouTube, you're going to get 10,000 people showing you how to do it. So it's a well-known one. I'm going to do my best to break it down so that you guys can understand it. It's one that lots of drummers will learn early on and then spend the rest of their life trying to perfect, including myself. So what we're going to do, as always, we're going to start the lesson with a little bit of a warm-up. The warm-up will loosely relate to the lesson notes. We're going to look at stick control exercise. Now, stick control, most people have heard of that. Stick control generally is playing patterns in 16th notes or 8th notes. Well, we're going to do the triplet variation of that because Perdie Shuffle's in triplets. So let's just check you can hear my drums and let's have a go at this. So for you, anyone who's just dropping in for the first time, so these lessons have been running since the lockdown in the UK. So this is probably about week 6 now. I've been enjoying them. The people dropping in have been enjoying them, so I've just continued to do them. We're doing it on a weekly schedule, and the schedule looks something, well, when we don't have problems like today, something like this. So we've got 3 different sections: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And so I'm doing my best to stick to that at the moment. Okay, let's get stuck in then. So my only other concern with this is whether I start to get a loop going on or anything like that. And when I'm talking about a loop, I mean like a feedback loop. So if you're listening and all of a sudden you start getting like a strange sound or echo or something, then someone just let me know, will you? So this new desk, I got this on Sunday, and I've been trying to set that up literally for 2 days, trying to get it all working, and this is the test now, really. So let's see how we get on. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Hand triplets. Well, that's just these guys. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. If you've never done those before, just think of this. Hickory, dickory, hickory, dickory. And next to it, we've got some bounce triplets. Puggaders, I sometimes call those, or drum corps people call those, which is this. Bounce triplet, bounce triplet, bounce triplet. Where's the name Puggada come from? Well, in the drum corps world, they play them a lot, and they play them a lot faster. So it'd be like Puggada, 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 that sort of speed. And so that's where the name goes from. So all we do is we play the 8th notes: 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, bounce triplet, bounce triplet, bounce triplet, bounce triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, bounce triplet, bounce triplet, bounce triplet, bounce triplet. Right, we're going to try that. First of all, welcome in Ollie. Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us. Hope you enjoy this. Who else we got in here? I can't see from me. I just wish I had a magnifying glass. Andrew, Mark, nice to see you again. Dusty, as always, thanks for dropping in. Okay, I'm going to play it. Try and do the accents. If you can't do the accents, just follow the sticking pattern. It's written on the screen. I'm going to do some feet to get you going. The more advanced guys, let's go for some more difficult feet. So we might try something. Middle of the range would be just jazz feet. So right, both, like this. More advanced guys, let's do a shuffle with the feet. So this sound. might try and hang on that one. All right, so we'll start real slow. Right, so this is for our beginners out there. Let's get our friendly neighborhood metronome helping us out here. So if we get into
1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4.
So let's go there. 96 beats a minute, right?
3 and dot 4 and
So
dot
1
and dot 2 and dot
2
3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot
easy,
1
right?
and dot
Now
2
in this
and dot 3
lesson,
and dot 4 and
if this was a one-to-one, we'd be doing that for like 10-15 minutes, right? Just making sure you can master that and going faster and slower. But I'm going to let you do that in your own time. So pause the video now if you're watching it on watch back and sit and do that. Right, letter B. So letter B we change to the Swiss triplet. So we now do the same intro. So this part here, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. However, now we change to Swiss triplets. Swiss drummers, I don't know why, but they like to lead everything with the right hand. So they did a double right, 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 left, right, right, left, right, right. And you can see there's 2 accents there. Do I play 2 accents like this? In honesty, not really, no. So I tend to do one loud and one kind of medium loud, all right? I'm sure there's a technical term for that. For me, it's just loud, medium loud. It's much easier to see why you do that when I play it fast. Obviously, you can make the choice to play them both loud. So again, beginners, get that sticking pattern that's written underneath. More advanced guys, let's get some feet going. Let's try it again at 96 beats per minute.
1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot
1
1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and
Through this lesson, I actually move pretty fast compared to how I might do it in a one-to-one lesson. If you have any questions, type them in. I see them up on my screen. I see them on my phone if I'm quick to look down. And I'm trying to do my best to answer any questions you have, all right? So there's 4 parts to this, right? We're not going to go on and on this. 4 parts. The third part has got something called French rolls. Now, that's, again, a drum corps marching type term. A lot of kit players wouldn't have heard of. It basically means 3 on a hand. So a French roll would be this. Drum corps guys will play that. Kit players, they're really good for getting us good at our doubles. They don't really come across as well as on a marching snare, on this snare, or on the toms. But they're a great chop builder, right? So let's try and do this one. So again, we've got our check pattern.
1 and dot 2 and
And then
dot 3
it's
and
French
dot 4
roll.
and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3.
As I said before, the more advanced guys, you can still do this stuff. Just make it difficult by doing some feet. If I try this. If you want to be like Thomas Lang or something like that, then right foot to 2 lefts. I can do it, but reverse that. There's a million things you can do with your feet to make this one much more difficult and much more interesting for you more advanced players. Okay, let's move to the final one then. So the final one is difficult. While I'm just getting this one ready, so for guys just dropping in, we're moving at quite a pace today, but this is aimed towards the beginners. I'm going to talk in beginner language, but you beginners, don't think that if you don't get this in 4 goes like I'm showing you now, that's it. You're rubbish. You need to be doing this probably 400 times to master it. I just don't want to sit here for 2 hours just breaking down every pattern. I want to get to the main part of the lesson. So this is the warm-up. Main part of the lesson is Perdie Shuffle. This does relate to it though, these rhythms you're learning here. So what we got here? Well, we've got double stroke roll. Now we've got 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, and then we're playing doubles, but in the space of 3. Now, they don't fit very well. So what we can do, we can cheat with this one. Instead of counting 3s, ignore that they're 3s. Instead, count 6s, because then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everyone can count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then count the left-handed one. So in other words, the space is normally this far apart. Now, and we just pretend the space is now half the distance apart. Sorry, double the distance apart. So we go now. So we're still in time, but we're using a different reference point, right? I'll play it so you understand what's going on with the bass drum. So this is just the second bar. I'll play it across my toms actually, so you can hear it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you can't get that start, say the 4 and the 1 real loud, just literally like I'm doing, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The pattern preceding that, the hand-to-hand pattern, is what we call a check pattern, because what we're going to do is we're going to check that against the following part. I'll play it for you now.
1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot.
And so that's just a nice little exercise that I use to warm my hands up when I'm trying to play things in kind of triplet mode, let's call it. Now, I'm aware this is going to be pretty small on your screen. If you're watching on a phone, it's going to be absolutely tiny, right? If you're on a PC, you might just get it. But that there is all 4 of those different patterns. So the first one was bunch triplets. The second one was Swiss triplets. The third one was the French roll. That's 3 on a hand. And the fourth one was the double roll. I'll play the whole thing, and then this is one that these lesson notes, what I do with them after the lesson is I upload them to a website called freestylrudiments.com. If you go on there, there's an area that says sheets, and these lesson notes will be available on there for you to take away, do what you want with them, alright?
For 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4.
If you can handle this, let's play the whole thing. If you're more advanced, do something crazy with the feet, right? I'm just going to keep quarter notes going. Here we go. 1, 2,
3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1.
Okay, so as with the normal stick control exercise, we work it slow tempos to learn it. We work it in medium tempos because we have medium songs, but we also have fast songs. So we're going to try it fast as well. Guys who are new to this, you might not hang with this. Don't worry about it, right? You'll get plenty of time to practice it.
1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4
mention
and
it now.
dot 2
Well,
and
zero,
dot 3
it's
and
too
dot
much
4
for me
and
now,
dot
right?
1
So
and
let's
dot 2
change
and
it.
dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2, 3, 4.
Let's just have him saying that,
2,
right?
3, 4.
If you've got any
1,
questions at
2,
all, type
3,
them in now,
4,
right? Anything.
1, 2.
There's no
3,
stupid questions,
4,
right? Just ask
1,
away.
2, 3, 4.
So
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Okay, one last time.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
And that's the warm-up done. Why am I doing a triplet warm-up? Well, the Perdie Shuffle is in triplets, and if we can reference those triplets in our head, we've got a good chance of getting it right. So, Bernard Perdie, right? He's a bit of a character. Have a look on YouTube and you'll find videos of him. I'm sure that at some point he was a cool young guy, but now he's kind of a cool old guy. I'm not sure. Is he still alive, Bernard Perdie? I think. I'm questioning now. Do you know what? Someone have a look for me and have a look on the internet. I hope he is. He's a dude. He's a real dude, right? So I don't know if he invented it, right? But he played very often a groove that played it so often that everyone actually gave it his name, Perdie Shuffle. Now there's two versions of this shuffle, right? There's the short version, which is one we're going to do today, as in the normal shuffle, and then there's the halftime shuffle, which I might show you at the end, but that's a slightly different version, all right? So we first of all got to make sure you can play a shuffle. So everyone, you've got to be able to play this to be able to do this. And that's what's written on that top there, alright? So if you can't do that, just think of Jack and Jill and Jack and Jill and Jack and Jill and Jack and Jill. Now in this, I'm going to use words. You guys know I like using all these words. I've got on here Radio 1 on. Well, what we do with it, if you think of a normal beat like this. At some point someone went, oh, I'm going to put notes between those and it's going to sound cool. Right? But what someone then did was they went, well, what if I could put notes between this? And that's the Perdie Shuffle. So we're basically playing that shuffle you can see there, but with notes in between. And I'm going to teach you the various versions of that. So the first one, Radio 1 on. That's just for people who can't quite feel this rhythm yet. Radio 1 on Radio 1 on Radio 1 on Radio 1 on 1. You get stuck? Use that rhythm, right? 1 and a 2, a 3 and a 4, a 1 and a 2, a 3 and a 4. So anyone's just dropping into this with aiming this towards beginners, right? Maybe intermediate players, but we're going to get more difficult towards the end, so you guys have got something else to do. First thing we're learning here is the first part of Perdie's Shuffle. So we're going like this. So that sticking pattern, right, left, right, both. Right, right, left, right, both. Right, it's only 5 hits of the drums, you've got to get correct. Right, left, right, both, and then a right. Right, left, right, both. Right, 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 right, left, right, both. Okay, so Dusty's just said he's still breathing. Awesome, right, I'm glad. Do you know, I had an awful moment then when I said that. I suddenly just thought, is he alive? Is he dead? Is he? Right, he is alive, everybody, alright? So, that's awesome. I hope he's still playing. Right, if we check this out then, this is the whole pattern. So we're trying to keep that nice even shuffle on the right hand, dropping that other note in there. So what we really want to be able to do though, I'm sure most of you guys can do this, is drop in that bass drum on the first note. Now if you just learn this for the first time, don't be overawed by it. It's only that many hits of the drums there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits of the drums. We go. Let's try a little faster with the metronome so you know what's going on. Quick question actually, is this metronome really loud when he's talking, or is it about the right volume?
1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot
1
1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4 and dot 1 and dot 2 and dot 3 and dot 4.
Haven't got that yet? Pause this video, sit and do that. Come back as soon as you've got it, right? I'll still be here. Right, the next one then. So that's the first inner beat, right? I call those inner beats, inner notes, that little one there. Now, what does it mean? It's got the brackets around it. That just means play it really quiet. So we're playing that one there quiet and that one there nice and loud, all right? That's the second stage. Now, what we've got there to learn then is the other spot that we can put 2 notes. Now, this one's a little bit different. Note what have I written here? On the radio, on the radio, on the radio, on the radio. So with this one here, we're going to get 1, a 2 and a 1, a 2 and a right, right, both left, right, 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 both left, right, 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 both left, right. So I'll play that one for you. I think you pick this one up nice and quick. Anyone who's really new to this and is starting to scratch their head, getting lost with this, Right, with all of these, the way that I find is best to learn them is learn them in chunks, right? There's something that scientists call chunking. It's the way we humans learn things. If we learn small chunks and we play them enough times next to each other, they become bigger chunks and bigger chunks. That's kind of how we learn to talk. Same with drums. So what you can do is you can split this up into just 4 hits. Look. Right, left, right, both. No, I lied. 5 hits. Right, left, right, both, left, right. And then just stop and let your brain learn it. Right, left, right, both, left, right. Stop, let your brain learn it. Right, left, right, both, left, right. Then make it a bigger chunk. And then finally you've got the whole thing. I'm going to put a bass drum in there. I think it actually makes it easier. So letter B. Now, what I want to try and get you doing now then, this is the difficult part, especially for beginners, right? Again, you've got to take this a step at a time, right? Learn to walk before you can run. These two guys here are going to ideally be nice and quiet. Now, can I change those set all the way back here from my computer? Kind of, yeah. So what I would do, if I was doing this correctly, I really am struggling to see the PC for me, is try and make those so they've got brackets around them. Oh, I've done it. So what I'm going to do now, that a second left is actually going to be quiet, so it's going to sound like this. All the way through this, as I keep saying, ask your questions. I'll try and do my best to answer anything. Someone asked me the other day about rim shots. Why do you do rim shots, or why don't you do rim shots? So these sticks, as you can see, are all messed up. And if you get into rim shots, you're going to ruin your sticks, all right? That's just part of playing drums. You don't have to do rim shots, right? There's plenty of drummers there which don't do rim shots. In all honesty, when I record in studios, I very often don't do rim shots because I actually prefer the sound without the rim shot. However, in most live situations, apart from quiet ones, I'm going to be rim shotting a lot. Now in this particular case, what I'm doing is I'm playing the loud one on a rim shot, and then the rims are so loud that the next note, even if it's quite loud, is nowhere near the same. So it gives that difference between notes. How do you hit them? You just got to practice and practice and practice to get the accuracy. For a long time, I've been planning on, not planning, what's the word, like wishing, I suppose is a better word, to switch to traditional grip, because I play traditional grip for a lot of the stuff I do with the marching drums and the percussion theatre we're playing for kit. So the only reason I don't is I can't quite get accurate those rim shots yet. Okay, there's one. However, that's just me not having enough time, or not making enough time to sit and do that. If I did that 10,000 times, then I would soon get it. So sit and practice those, right? Anyway. They sound pretty cool when you get them fast. They're pretty cool slow, but faster. Play over here. And so what I started to do then, some of you might have caught that, is I started playing the full one, didn't I? So when you combine the two, then you get the Perdie Shuffle. So the Perdie Shuffle is famous for the halftime shuffle, right? However, I teach both because you don't often get to play halftime shuffles, right? In my experience as a pro drummer, there's not that often I get to play halftime shuffles. I get to play normal shuffles a lot more often. So if you have a look at letter D, we've got the main part, the bar to the right of that, up, where am I pointing? Up there, I can't quite reach, but up there, has got the grace notes in there, the quiet notes. So the ones with brackets around, they're ghost notes. Play them quiet. Think of it as seen but not heard, right? Really, really, really quiet. So I'll play it like that. It goes like this. I'll put it with a metronome for you as well.
One and dot two and dot three and dot four
So,
and dot
1,
one and dot
2
two and dot three and dot four and dot one and dot two and dot three and dot four and dot one and dot two and dot three and dot four and dot one and dot two and dot three and dot four and dot one and dot two and dot three and dot four and dot one and dot two and dot three and dot four.
So for those guys who've been hanging out with me for these lessons for a little while now, you know that I'm obsessed with getting accuracy and then getting groove rather than groove then accuracy. So the accuracy one, I'll use this. So I'm trying to hit every one of those woody woodpeckers exactly with one of the notes I'm playing. Then I allow myself a little bit of space by putting probably a quarter note pattern on and let myself move a little bit. I've been learning this week a Led Zeppelin track, so John Bonham part, and to do it I've had to score out the song and I've had to put it into a DAW. So in this case I'm putting it into Cubase, and when you put it in there, what you can do is you can put the metronome next to it and you can see all the speed up and slow down. You can map it eventually. Now the amount that he speeds up and slows down just during one bar is insane, and yet this is one of the greatest drummers, for some people's minds ever, right? So what I'm getting at with this is sometimes trying to do this is spot on, trying to be perfect like a computer, but every now and then you're going to hear a drummer, and if you actually analyze what he's doing, there can be these little troughs where it might be speed up and slow down. So feel or pocket is something a little bit more than just playing with the ba 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 ba, but that will get you pretty close. And if you're playing in a studio environment, that's what someone wants you to be able to do. Okay, let's have a go then at taking the speed up a little bit, and I'll maybe show you some variations you can do with this. If we've got any questions as well, jump these questions in now. It can be about anything. At the end of these lessons, what I normally do is do kind of question answer. It can be on anything. It can be a completely different subject. For guys who are just dropping in, this is the lesson schedule we loosely work to here. So we've got beginner or aimed at beginner lessons on a Tuesday, Thursday a little bit more difficult, the intermediate and the advanced stuff on a Saturday. Go check out my YouTube channel if you fancy, if you enjoy this and you like these lessons. There's plenty of other lessons on there, and my Instagram channel also is over there, Geoff Fry Drummer. If you don't want to miss out on these, then come follow me on Facebook or one of those, and you'll always get a prompt then that it's going to happen. But don't leave yet. We've got a little bit more to do. I want to do some lessons on learning songs. Now, I've put it off a little bit because I'm so far away from the computer, and if someone has a private lesson with me, you'll see that what I do is I'll score the song out in the computer. I've got thousands and thousands of songs already scored out on my computer, but what I thought would be nice to do was, rather than doing a song that's already scored out, is it might be worth doing one that's I'll show you how to score a song out, or how I would go about learning a song. That's probably a better way of putting it. So if I got paid money to score out some Police track, then I would have to do it exactly note for note, right? If I was being paid to play on a gig tomorrow and play said Police track, I would score out completely different. I would just want the main things that are going on. And so if that's of interest to you, please let me know. But the big thing is, for this, please suggest me some songs. Have you got any songs out there that you'd like to learn? And it doesn't have to be crazy hard. In fact, it'd be better if it's a nice and simple one, AC/DC or something like that, something simple that I could show you how I would score from the beginning to end in over about 15-20 minutes. If you give me the most insane songs the world's ever learned, I might have a go at them, but it's going to take longer than the 15-20 minutes that we've got. So please put those in your notes. Nah, no worries. I started late, so that's probably why you missed me anyway. Okay, right, let's have a go then and figure out this Perdie Shuffle. So let's go a little bit faster. So we'd get something like this. If you watch how my hands look, that might help some of you guys figure out how to keep the pattern going. And you can throw any bass drums in. And what we're going to find, though, is when you type this in to YouTube, which I'm no doubt some of you will, and I would do the same too, you're going to get the halftime shuffle. Now, the halftime shuffle is probably the more fashionable, cooler one for drummers to learn, right? It's awesome, right? There's something about it that just makes you kind of nod your head and be like, yeah, man, I'm digging that, right? Even if someone plays it half-assed, it's still something that people enjoy. So have a look at that one. The notes will be on the sheet from that one there. All it is an extension of the one that we've just learned. Have we got any questions? So there must be some questions tonight on something. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here live all night until someone asks me a question. Come on, someone type something in. I'm not going to sit here all night really, but I wouldn't mind a question. The sound, while we're talking about that, so the new sound system that I've got in here is going to mean that the drums hopefully sound better. They're certainly going to sound a lot cleaner when I do my other lessons, so my YouTube lessons and things like that. It means now that I can put the effects on the drums, so the EQ and the compression, all that kind of stuff. I can put it, what we might call in the chain. So in other words, when I hit this drum here, last week you were just hearing the noise from the snare going into a mixer with no compression coming straight into the camera. What's happening now is we're going into a mixer where I can add compression and stuff like that. Okay, cool. We've got a question, so we can all sleep well tonight now. Any other questions? So yeah, right hand technique. Okay, let's have a quick look at that then. So if you watch my right hand when I play it, there's kind of a whip motion. Now, someone asked me this a long time ago. Actually, I remember during one of my lessons, and we looked online, and there was a video of Tommy Igoe playing, and he's got exactly the same motion as me. I don't know if we've got a similar background or what, but the motions that we both use is kind of a bit of Moella technique. Moella, you might have to go and look that up if you're not aware of that when you're watching this. But the basics are, if I put a piece of string around here, right, and my arm is all limp, and I lift it up like a puppet, like this. So imagine my piece of string just pulling me up. I'm lifting from the wrist first, so the bead, look, is coming up last. Right, whereas when we play drums normally, we're lifting from here on a piece of string, aren't we? We're going like pop, like that. So normally we would play with Moella technique. There's a bit more into it, a bit more about it than what I'm about to show you here. But the basics of what I'm doing is I'm whipping my hand like this. I'm lifting from the wrist. So the bead is actually the last thing to lift up. And hopefully you hear them. There's this kind of pulse, isn't there? Like now, and now, and now, and now, and now, and now. As opposed to so in slow motion, lift from the wrist. As I lift from the wrist, the stick falls down, flops down, hits the hi-hat. So it's that motion, right? Some people kind of think of it as a swan neck, that kind of thing, all right? Okay, that's a good question, right? I've had another question. I'm going to keep talking about that. But which songs would be good for these, right? I'm going to let you guys suggest that because there's so many. And every time I do a lesson on this, I go on my computer to try and find a song, and I'm like, oh man, I can only think of like Rosanna and Fall in the Rain. So there's got to be some other people there who can come and save the day and put some songs on here. There's those two there. Are probably the most common ones. I've gone completely blank again. You put me under pressure. Some other guys fill me in here, right? Help me out here. Stick some songs in that are good to practice the halftime shuffle. I'm pretty sure that Drummer World website has got something on there. If you type in songs with halftime shuffle in, there's a big list. I'm sure that I've used that before to find songs to practice to. One thing that you might not know about as well, a lot of drummers are starting to do now is they're creating playlists on Spotify. For themselves or to share, and so you might be able to go on there and just type in, literally go on Spotify and type in halftime shuffle, and someone's probably put in a whole bunch of songs. Really quite useful. So this is the same pattern then if you have a look at my hand. If I think too much about that whip, it goes all kind of off. I want to round it off a little bit. Even more with the halftime. The only other thing that I can kind of give you that might help towards that same arm motion, if you were to hit the ride cymbal here and then go for the bell and do that same motion, the way that your hand will move is exactly the same as what we're going to do with the hi-hat here. So if I play that. So to just make sure that everyone's got that then. Okay, awesome. Some people are dropping in some songs now. Wicked. Keep those songs coming. Right? Anyone who can think of any songs? Mark just had another question as well, which I'm going to answer as well. Mark, 1 second, I'll come back to that one. So the halftime shuffle then. So I just want to round that up. So we've got the normal shuffle. The halftime. Okay, yeah, right. So Mike's had a really good question there. So do you wear earplugs on live gigs? Yes, I do. So these earplugs that I've got in here are Shure, I want to say 215s. Is that a thing? I think that's what they're called. They're about £65 to £80. They are pretty awesome for what you get. There's lots of Chinese copies that you can get now for about 20-30 quid. It's just I've been using these for so long that I've always spent the money. However, lots of people don't have the ability to wear in-ears on a gig. Like most of the gigs that I play, what I do is I have my Roland SPD-SX next to me. I have a feed from whatever band I'm playing with coming from the desk. So in other words, the noise the rest of the band are making all coming from the desk in one cable into my SPD-SX. That SPD-SX plugs into this here, and all I do then is I control the volume of the rest of the band on there. If I'm playing a big gig, quite often I'll even say the same thing to the sound engineer. So can you give me your feed straight into my SPD-SX? And they're normally happy with that instead of a big wedge here. I've got a bit of tinnitus in this ear, which is basically where you play drums so much and not bothering to wear ears, and you start to get this noise forever. All right, so wear earplugs. I've got some in-ear plugs that have been molded to my ears that I wear when I'm not wearing these. So some gigs where, say I went to a jam night, I obviously wouldn't have these. So what I've got then is I've got some molded earplugs. Now these earplugs are specially designed to bring the sound down by a certain amount of decibels, but not sound like you've got your fingers stuck in your ear, so you can still hear. And there's an awesome company that a lot of people don't know about that I'm going to put up afterwards, and it's something like, I don't know what it is, something like Save Your Hearing, right? Something like that. .com. And what they do is they're a company for musicians, and if you can prove that you're a musician, then they'll cut loads of the money, or the government have granted a load of money to cut off the price of those. So they normally cost like 110, 130 quid, and you can get them through them for about 40 quid. I can't remember if you have to be a professional musician or you just have to prove that you go out and do gigs, but I'll put a link to that in the description after this. I think my molded ears are made by, well, I've got AMS in my head. I wonder if I can just quickly look for you. I think they're AMS, something like that. AMS. Or maybe ATS. Don't know. I'm going to have to put that in the link as well. I'm bad at remembering names. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up there. So thank you for dropping in this evening. Sorry it was a bit late. I'm glad you can hear me. That means we can continue doing these live lessons. I'll be back with another lesson on Thursday. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do yet. I'll have a look what I've got written down. From 7 o'clock, and the advanced lesson will be on Saturday. I'm still really keen to do a day or a couple of hours or some kind of session on just double strokes. Whether that's going to be something that I run as a closed group that we might all pay some money for, or whether I can do it on a live lesson. I've got to weigh it up. The downside of doing the live lessons is that you've got to sit there for ages, and you've got the option of just going, I can't bother tonight, I'm going to have a beer instead. I'd like it if I'm going to sit and do sort of 2-3 hours worth of prep and work during that. I'd like to know that you're all going to be there. So let me know if you're still interested in that. Like I said, come and follow me on YouTube. Hope you're enjoying it. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you all soon.